Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, oh, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind.
Georgia on my mind this beautiful Friday evening. This is your host Steele, and tonight with me is your second most favorite host, Ajax, from Georgia, with Georgia on his mind. How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there, man. It's been a long week, but I'm excited about this weekend, and I'm about the spring. It's a beautiful weather out. Taking the little ones Easter egg hunting this weekend.
Nice.
And so just trying to relax and, you know.
Where are you guys going for the egg hunt?
You know, we just church hop, you know, where they do the little Easter egg hunts and just kind of just give them experiences and enjoy. You know, it's like when you get old, that's you mostly that's what you do.
Any ideas of going to the White House egg hunt? Ever just thought about that? Or are you gonna wait for President Cruz to be in there and then take your kids in there?
Yeah, President Cruz is gonna, you know, he's gonna line the eggs of gold because we're all gonna be loaded then. So
if he has some time from one of his 5 mistresses, we are going to test that a little later during the show. But man, crazy week, man. This just keeps going on to the gutter, deeper, faster, man. Yeah.
Yeah. When we were talking about the show, just so the audience knows, there were so many topics out there this week. It was hard to like streamline it. So we'll do our best to kind of hit a few things, but there's too much out there this week.
To lay out the agenda, we are going to talk about the new Religious Freedoms Act in Georgia, and then we are going to discuss the LGBT law controversy in North Carolina. We will discuss the terrorist attacks in Belgium, and then to give it the least possible importance. If it was up to me, I would not even discuss it, but since it's hitting mainline news, I would like to discuss what's going on with Senator Cruz and Mr. Trump and the whole nasty, dirty feud. So that will conclude the show. Just so we share the progress with the show with our listeners, we want you to know that we have cut down the duration of the show down to less than an hour because, one, that way we discuss more material in lesser time, and that way there's less rambling and more material, and we stick to the topics. Because earlier, when we were going towards hour and a half or 45 minutes, there was too much rambling, endless discussions, and no one was clock watching. So please give us your feedback. Do you like the shorter format? better than the longer format? Do you want it to be longer? Do you want it to be even shorter than what it is right now? So we look forward to hear from you. How are you liking this new format, Ajax?
I think it's been going well. Let's hear what the audience has to say. But beginning with this.
One more thing before we go.
Okay.
One of the listeners left a comment on our Facebook page recommending that we use different theme art on cover art on our YouTube videos and all. If you have some suggestive theme art that you want us to use on our YouTube videos, please go ahead, send them to us. We would like to use our listeners' contribution. I have been using a lot of Dora the Explorer and kids cartoons kind of theme art, and the whole idea behind that is we are trying to get your kids, like, no bullshit. We want to spread our propaganda to our kids, because as we can see with all these kids flocking to the Bernie Sanders rallies and all, the whole idea is to get your kids before the socialists get them. Speaking of Bernie Sanders rally, Ajax, I want to tell you that I happened to pass by a Bernie Sanders rally today.
Did you see were they eating each other's flesh? You know, we compared them to zombies, or I compared them to zombies a few episodes ago. So
I did not even know that it was a Bernie Sanders event until I passed so close to the entrance that this guy came screaming out at the people, "Empty your pockets before going in! Empty your pockets before going in!" I'm like, dude, he's not even president. Why are you emptying the pockets now?
It was probably like a bread line, you know. They were just practicing.
It was a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. The sun was out, absolutely stunning weather. And then I was walking by the event area, and I heard this loud roar of crowd in there. And respect to this guy, he has some fresh ideas. Most of his ideas are basically from Ron Paul, so nothing new to the political arena, but definitely this person has some good following. Tomorrow, Washington, Hawaii.
I just got one comment about what your Bernie Sanders rally.
Yes.
This is an old adage from my family. It says, "Better dead than red." So just to tell the audience.
That is absolutely true, and that comes from people who witnessed or who's personally suffered the horrors of communism, which is basically socialism's elder brother. But tomorrow, the Democratic Party holds its caucuses and primaries in Alaska, Hawaii, and Washington, and Bernie Sanders is very heavily favored to win those primaries. But right now, on the political non-important topics right now that are not covering as much press air are these two laws that are being debated in Georgia and North Carolina. The one in Georgia, it's the religious freedom, something to do with religious freedom. So, Ajax, why don't you tell our listeners more about what's going on in Georgia?
Yeah, so it's a big controversy. Basically, it's the state government of Georgia is trying to get ahead of the curve with regards to the likely scenario where priests and pastors are going to be forced to officiate homosexual marriages, contrary to their religious doctrines. And it kind of takes it a step further, whether it be religious institutions can hire based on their religious preference and things like that. So people that practicing contrary to their religious beliefs. And interestingly enough, what's going on is you have major corporations, including Walt Disney, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, but the NFL, the NBA. I think there's a couple dozen of them that are making very strong statements. We're not going to invest here. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that if you pass this law. So it's become very controversial because of the risk of loss of business related to this quote unquote anti-LGBT law, which is basically a religious freedom law. That's the Religious Freedom Act. And I wanted to comment about Disney specifically because Disney World or Disney Corporation it films movies in Georgia. Georgia has this big thing where we give tax credits to companies to film movies. I've seen them personally in my neighborhood. And what has happened is they are saying that they will no longer film movies here in Georgia if this law passes. And I find it interesting because they have no problem opening up and sharing ownership of Disney World China with a communist government, but when you even express the idea of providing a religious kind of exemption to these kind of statist rules, there's no leeway, and these radical gay activists have a very prominent role in many of our large corporations. And I say that as a Disney stockholder. It's actually my largest holding, so I'm actually very upset about it. My vote probably wouldn't really count anyway. I'm not that important. But so what is your take? Have you looked into these laws, and what is your take on it?
Well, I will tell you what. I'm not a religious person. You know me. People who know me, they know that I do not follow a religion. But at the same time, I am very pro religion, because when people lose the liberty to practice their religion is the day that the precedent to abolish atheism is set in. I cannot be atheist if people cannot be Christian. So I wholeheartedly defend Christians, as conservative as they can be, or as fundamental as they can be, whether they are Baptists or they are Seventh-day Adventists or they are Mormons. I support their right to be religious. Second thing is, like it or not, our country's morality is derived from biblical theology. And we cannot just wish that we can get rid of this overnight. If we are going to get rid of our country's morality, then we are getting rid of the founding values. I mean, what are we doing? Are we reinventing the wheel here? Are we rediscovering America? Are we reshaping America in a different image? I mean, are we moving towards a different horizon? Are we going to be a different country? Is that the vision of these leftists? Second thing I want to... Yes. Let me make my point.
I just want to make...
Yes,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead and make a point. Maybe it's more relevant right now.
I just want to say, I feel like there's this new persecution going on, and among Christian circles, being a practicing Christian, you often read about this Benedictine option, where the culture has changed so dramatically, like you're talking about, that the only option for many Christians going forward is likely to kind of retreat to their own little enclaves in society, because we really are moving to a post-Christian society. And I know many of our listeners are actually more like you. They're actually kind of non-religious, or but you have to understand, and I want to speak directly to those listeners that maybe aren't that religious. If they come after the Christians, they're going to start coming after everybody else. And if you have any views contrary to what they say, they're going to come after you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
It's all about policing the thought. It's all about stopping free thought. Today it's the Christians, tomorrow it's going to be the rest of us. So if you want to build the final firewall between you and your freedom to be whatever you are, then you have to defend people's right to practice their faith, and that right absolutely includes the rights of Christian pastors to decline to perform marriages that they disagree with fundamentally. So you cannot be expected to go to a Southern Baptist pastor and he should not be forced to perform a marriage that he doesn't recognize in his religious views. The other piece of the puzzle that's going on is the whole LGBT law in North Carolina. And basically, to condense it into something that's more digestible by a brain at this moment, it's basically allowing people to be able to use bathrooms for the genders that they identify with. So I am born as a male. I identify myself as a male. Now, if I decide down the road that I'm a woman, so I should have the right to go into a woman's bathroom. And that is totally a slippery slope. And what will happen is that men who claim to be women. I mean, what does it take for a person to claim to be a woman? Just say, I'm a woman. He doesn't need to carry around a piece of paper from a psychiatrist or something. If I say I'm a woman, pretty much I'm a woman. That's the new definition of gender in this country. If I say I'm a pink falcon, then I'm a pink falcon. I mean, I am who I think I am.
I want to comment on that.
Yes.
And what's going to happen, like you're saying, being a slippery slope, is that you're going to have these degenerate middle-aged guys. They're going to go in there and start using their opportunity to go in the bathrooms and rape your daughters.
I don't know about
rape the little girls or molest little children. This is what's going to happen because the deviants are the ones that are going to utilize this law. It's not going to be the regular gay people or transgender people. It's going to be the deviants that's using this law. Go ahead.
And I'm just saying, like, let's not even discuss the deviants. It's about having these protections for the most vulnerable in our society, the women and the kids. There are these protections to protect them. Rape happens, child rape happens, but there's laws and regulations in place that make it harder for these travesties to happen. And when you get rid of these laws and regulations, you're opening the Pandora's box. You don't know what's coming next. I mean, I just don't understand what is these people's infatuation with wanting to get inside our women and kids' bathrooms. What? Why are you guys so infatuated with sharing the bathroom with our most vulnerable people of the society? Dude, like, seriously, have you ever, like, you've been to places where they have family bathrooms, right? Gender neutral?
Yeah. I mean, I've used them.
Yes.
The ones that have a little family sticker on there. You can go in there and you can change your kids. I don't know where these psychopaths are trying to write these rules for. Go ahead.
I know you're emotionally charged about the issue, but the thing is that it's not the psychopaths who are writing the laws. It's the psychopaths who will be benefiting from these laws. It's these people who have this totally degenerate definition of social equality in their mind who are redefining the morals, the laws and the regulations, the rules that govern the society. Because they feel that all 5 fingers on your hand are the same size. Every hair on your head is the same size. Like, they just don't understand that it's a law of nature for things and people to be able to be distinguished. I mean, if being equal and being the same was so desirable for the advancement of life on Earth, then why aren't 2 human beings, 2 animals, not even 2 bananas similar? I mean, there's nothing that is equal for a good reason, because nature intended us to be distinguishable. And that's the reason this whole thing about equality is garbage. You guys are pursuing an agenda that's anti-evolutionary, an agenda that is anti-human. Who will take responsibility for the consequences of the values you guys are pushing? What if there's rapes happening in these bathrooms? Are these legislators who are pushing for these laws going to take responsibility?
Because it's not going to be their daughters, because their daughters are put away in the safe areas. They don't think about the rest of us.
I'll tell you something. Democracy is not supposed to be the rule of the mob. That 50% plus 1 should not be defining what life should be like for the 49% something, the 50% minus 1. Democracy is a vehicle to promote an idea that's more socially palatable, that's acceptable by 50% plus 1 people, while it takes into account the welfare and the well-being of the 50% minus one. You are endangering the welfare of the 50% minus one by pushing this garbage. Why don't you want to push for gender neutral bathrooms for people who are confused about their gender? Many businesses have them. I don't think that's going to be very difficult to implement. Have an extra bathroom stall in there. I'm not mad about this, but at the same time, I'm confused where this bullshit is headed. And then in another part of the week, we have the Georgia campus carry legislation going on. Ajax, why don't you bring that up?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, Georgia's the center point, the crux of all these battles. Basically, what's happening in the heart of Atlanta, which is the largest city in Georgia, there is a lot of crime going on at Georgia State, one of the large state schools in the state of Georgia. So many of the people there started kind of clamoring for the right of licensed concealed carry gun owners to be able to carry their gun on campus. And there's a bill, both the bill we talked about, the religious freedom bill, and this bill are currently sitting on the governor's desk to waiting to see if they're going to pass. So it's very controversial.
I want to quickly jump in before you proceed with this. The governor of Georgia has said that he will not sign the religious freedoms or whatever that law is. I don't know what the status is with the law on concealed carry on campuses, but that's what's going on with these two laws. Has the governor said anything, what's on his mind about campus carry?
He actually, as far as the religious freedom one, he did say that he may be amenable with some changes. So that's still up in the air. But as far as the campus carry goes, I haven't heard any updates on that one. So what is your take on the right of individuals to carry on a college campus?
I will quickly relay a story that happened last year. I was in Grand Canyon, and every time I go to the national parks, I carry my shotgun with me. You don't know what you might encounter. So I am hiking down the canyon with like two of my friends. And dude, these fucking Californians, these motherfucking Californians, man, I fucking hate them so much. I hope fucking they like just fucking fall into the ocean or something. But like, you know what? That's a different story. Dude, look at the look on their motherfucking faces. I don't know, man. I'm just getting agitated as you like bring up the news, you know? Oh my god! I'm having a fucking heart attack. I just saw a gun. Man carrying a gun. Never seen a man carrying a gun. Fucking bitches, dude. Like, this is what happens when men are raised by women.
Well, that's a good point. When you take the dad out of the equation, you finding men
You're gonna have a society of bitches.
They're becoming demasculated. It's like, and our society is becoming more feminized, and this kind of gender dysphoria. That's the psychological term for it. Is just one result of this sort of breakdown of the family. And, you know what I mean? It's causing a whole series of issues, whether it be religious freedom or guns, the role of the state. It's like across the board. It's all can be traced back to the breakdown of the family.
Long story short, they called the Rangers on me. I could not believe that fucking happened to me. The Ranger, she was very friendly, and initially she was kind of belligerent, but I told her that I work for an agency that is very heavily involved with your agency. I showed her my ID card, so after that she calmed down. But I got reported for practicing my Second Amendment right in a lawful manner by people who are fucking bitches, who have never seen a fucking man with a gun. They lost their fucking shits over this, man. And because of that, I lost 45 minutes of my day because I had to be investigated by the ranger as per the rules. She had to call in all the dispatchers and run my driver's license and my date of birth and all that stuff just to make sure that I'm legally eligible to carry a firearm. The only bright side of this incident was I got a free background check, so means like no cops are yet looking for me. There's no warrants out for me. So, you know, man, of all places, they are striking in the heart of conservatism, of traditional American values. Georgia, man. You know, North
Georgia's
Carolina.
turning purple. Georgia's turning purple, man. It's our society's changing fast. We're going to be in retreat.
No, let me clarify this. All right, we as a country, we go through cycles of ideological identity crisis. We had the same issue when we emerged from the Vietnam War. We are kind of still in the economic doldrums of the early 2000s. We still haven't emerged from the war. So right now we are having an ideological identity crisis. You know, I read a very great article in one of the publications today. I cannot recall it from the top of my head. And it said, all these people who are clamoring for Bernie, these young socialists, they change their ideas pretty fast once they start making that paycheck and sharing that paycheck. Right now, they don't have jobs, most of them. That alone is a big incentive for them to be socialist. I don't have a Lamborghini, but guess what, man? I want Justin Bieber's Lamborghini. Can I have it? Doesn't work like that. You likey, you Ernie. You know likey, you know Ernie. I don't know. I cannot break it down further Barney style. People need to literally get their fucking shit together, man. This country is not for people who mooch off other people who work hard. This country is for you to realize your potential. As a private citizen, maximize your potential as a private citizen. Be a positive asset for the society. Contribute something, build something. Flipping burgers and racking shelves at the store, that's not a career.
Start a business. No one wants to start a business anymore because they're afraid of, the government's going to tax them. How many different regulations you need to deal with just to get your on the ground floor. Start a business. What you're saying, man,
if not starting a business, have a plan. You know, people complain about student loans, and you and I both know this character. And this is the last discussion before we head out into a quick break. We both know this character. He funded his lifestyle with student loans while he was in college. You know him, I know him. Now he works only on cash because, you know, the man with the black fedora is looking for him. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Like, he would not accept any check. He won't deal with the banks. Funny part is he's a Donald Trump supporter for some weird reason. But, I mean, you're going to live large in student loans. Guess what, my friend? Sooner or later, the chicken's gonna come home to roost. You are gonna owe that motherfucking money. You don't cheat two things. You don't cheat banks and you don't cheat the angel of death. Both are certain. Add taxman to the list. All right. So we're having a good discussion here. It's been a sad week here. We had a tragedy in Brussels, and then we're going to discuss the tabloid bullshit propaganda stuff going on right now with the Cruz and Trump wives. So hang in there. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. And while we're gone, we are going to play Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky. Please enjoy.
Happy Easter.
When I die and the limits are red,
in the sky, Norman Greenbaum. All those motherfucking UFOs. So why did you choose the song, Ajax?
We got to remember this is Easter, man. Today, you may not believe it, and half the world may not, but today our Lord and Savior died, and in 3 days He's going to rise, so that those who seek God with sincerity of heart will rise with Him.
Well,
so go ahead.
This is the reason I don't believe in this stuff. All right, I wanted to say garbage, but I'll be respectful of your views here, since you've always been respectful of my views. So, if this guy is dead, how is he gonna rise? And it's been much longer than 3 days since he's been dead. How long you guys gonna wait for him, bro? How long you guys gonna wait for him?
Hey, man,
not like it's a public transit. It's gonna return in 15 minutes.
He says he's gonna come like a thief in the night. We don't know when that's gonna be.
Isn't that the whole story behind evangelism? That these Christians are waiting for the return of the Christ, and they want all the Jews in Israel. So once he's here, he's going to lead the fight between good and the bad, and then the good is going to win, and then all the Jews will convert to some Christian faith, and those who refuse will have to be destroyed. Tell the listeners if that's actually true. That's what evangelicals believe in.
There's different theology. It's called eschatology. It's sort of end times theology, and different churches have different views on it. Basically, there are some evangelical churches that believe in this sort of rapture. It's basically the rapture, as they define it, is the holy are taken up into the sky, and those who are left behind are basically in a time of tribulation. And the theology of my church is a little different. It actually just seeks a kind of peaceful understanding of in an ongoing evolution of our world. But there is an end times coming, as
look, man,
as every Christian would define it. Jesus did say, "I will come as a thief in the night." Or
at what point will you guys kill the Jews? That's the question. Are you guys gonna kill the Jews? Very simple question. Like, there are some listeners right now. One of our listeners, Country Billy Bob, IQ of -5. Describe or tell him, when do the Jews get killed?
No.
You better not fucking kill the Jews, all right? I'm coming for you.
They say that, all the path of Christ is open to all peoples, Jews, Hindus.
Hindu.
I know you're raised a Hindu.
Cows.
Muslims. Christ is the way.
Well,
I am the way, the truth, and the light. No one gets to the Father except through me.
Man, I'll tell you something.
So but my personal view is those who seek God with a sincerity of heart, those who actually seek truth, wisdom, love, and justice, they'll be good in God's eyes.
Man, I'll tell you something, right? It's very hard for me to believe stuff, especially stuff. I don't know, like how let's say I mean, I know Catholics don't believe in it, but let's say some evangelicals believe in this garbage. I mean, literally, why doesn't anyone hold them accountable for this stupidity that they are actually plotting to kill the Jews at some point? I mean, that's like the return of the Nazis or something.
That's not really what their theology says. It says
that's a summary.
It says that
the ones who refuse to convert, man. That sounds more like fucking
It's not just the Jewish people. It would in this kind of fundamentalist evangelical view that any religion that does not repent and believe in Christ will
have to be destroyed.
Will be destroyed in the end of days.
So much for Christ's love for all mankind. Look, man, I'm trying to.
Let's change this topic. I know it's Easter.
There's no changing the topic. I am actually discussing this right now because of what happened in Belgium.
Okay.
This whole never-ending saga of the West attacking the Muslim attacking the West, and this whole thing. Like, I don't know when this bombing cycle ends, man. Like, at what point, like, the two sides say, all right, let's stop bombing each other, all right? Like, this is it, man. The Christ is not coming back. Jews have good control over Israel, and then we will live wherever we are living. Let's call truce and go home. But, that's too much of wishful thinking. More dangerous than these evangelicals are the movers and shakers of the world, like Hillary Clinton. This week, the details of her emails are coming out, and what I have been alleging for the longest time, that what's going on in Syria, in Iraq, and Libya, it's controlled chaos. They are destroying all kinds of resistance against Israel. All these people that were prior belligerents against Israel are no more. Assad in Syria was almost overthrown. Saddam in Iraq was overthrown. Gaddafi in Libya was overthrown. Iran is a very strong state. It cannot be just overthrown overnight. It's very organized, very ideologically organized, very well armed, so they couldn't throw it off. So the whole idea was that they are going to overthrow all these states that have any kind of belligerence against Israel, and that's in the details, in the email. Look it up. Hillary Clinton emailed Israel, Syria, Libya. Destroy Syria for Israel, something like that. And we attacked Iraq. The remnants of the disaffected Iraqis formed ISIS. Surprise, surprise, they never attack Israel. They use ISIS to overthrow the Assad regime. Good boy Putin comes in, saves the day. But while this part of the plan was going on, the second part of the plan was to have this nuclear deal, give Iran some kind of sweet deal, and set them up for an attack in the future. Basically, here's the deal. You agreed to it. Now we have drawn the red line. You cross the red line. We define the red line. We define when that red line was crossed. And then we go boom, boom, boom. But while we go boom, 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 just before that, we have gotten rid of your ally Assad in Syria. So there's no more help coming from the Hezbollah and Lebanon. So you're totally cut off from the help from the West. So we finally get rid of the final challenge to Israel's dominance in the Middle East. The Saudis and Qataris, in the meantime, they have cut a deal with Israel that they're not going to attack Israel. So the whole idea, what's going on, all this American treasure, all these American lives that have been sacrificed at the altar of Zion, as I call it, have all been for Israel. And God bless Israel, It's a great country, nothing against them. But, man, stop involving us.
I want to go back to Belgium for a minute.
And no, I'm going there. I'm segueing. Give me like 45 seconds, all right?
Okay.
So this attack in Belgium was carried out by these former thugs who have long rap sheets in Europe. They went over to Syria and Iraq, what they call the Harvard of terrorism, became ISIS, became more radicalized. All of a sudden, these people who are total crooks and thugs and thieves, they become enlightened and they're God's people. Now they're fighting jihad in Europe. And innocent people get hurt in the end. People like you, people like me. I think it's about time that we start promoting American foreign policy interests, European foreign policy interests, and let Israel put on the big boy panties and let them promote their own foreign policy interests. And let's have a fair trading partnership with them, like peace through trade, peace through free trade. Let's not have, I don't see any difference between Israel and Myanmar. Like, there's no difference between the two. I call bullshit to this whole idea that, Israel is our greatest ally. I don't know when was the last time that any Israel blood or treasure was sacrificed for American interests. If our listeners have any evidence to the contrary, please feel welcome to share it with us. Go ahead, Ajax.
I want to ask, why do you think these kind of ISIS radicals are focusing or attacking major European cities, European central hubs, and even though I would say, to be fair, many Europeans are really, and many European governments aren't nearly as involved in these Middle Eastern affairs as the United States is. What do you think the rationale for ISIS is in this capacity? Go ahead.
Every time you have questions like these, you have to ask the question, who's benefiting the most from this? And if anybody is benefiting, at least short term, strategically, is Israel. Because when they stand up in the United Nations to pass some kind of resolution for the Palestinian cause, condemning Israel, the greatest thorn in their armpit are these European nations. So they have managed to create this great anti-goodwill against the Muslim people, the refugees, the Muslim countries of the Middle East, by promoting these attacks. I will not be surprised if next thing that comes out is that ISIS is Israel's proxy. When was the last time Israel was attacked by ISIS? Why aren't these people going after Israel? I thought that's how you earn your big boy panties in the Middle East. You go after the Goliath. You don't attack and behead your own people.
I just want to kind of disagree with you for a second.
This is just a theory. I'm not alleging anything. I believe this is what's going on. I think Israel is through its proxies in Turkey and Qatar and Saudi Arabia are pushing these guys to conduct these attacks to create ill will against the people of the Middle East, the Muslim people of the Middle East. Go ahead.
Well, in Germany, they just took in like a million Syrian refugees. The culture is changing over there. They're giving them cradle to grave welfare. I mean, I have to say, the Europeans are almost to the point of being benevolent to the point to their own demise. And I really have not figured out a rationale why these kind of ISIS people, the only thing that can come to my head is ISIS associates any Western people as one big monolith. But Europeans are completely different than us, in their foreign policy and whatever.
You are basically basing your argument on the premise that ISIS is for the Muslim people, for the Muslim agenda. ISIS is anti-Muslim. ISIS is anti-Muslim agenda. ISIS kills Muslim people. ISIS beheads Muslim people. ISIS robs Muslim people. ISIS rapes Muslim women. ISIS makes Muslim people homeless. ISIS overthrows Muslim governments.
Let me ask you then, why
Let me finish making my point.
But I want to ask you a question about that point. Why is the Turkish military not going in there and just wiping them out? Why is the Saudis...
ISIS is a proxy. ISIS is a proxy. It's a well-known fact that when ISIS had strong control over the oil fields and the gas fields in northern Syria and Iraq, there was free flow of oil from these territories into Turkey, like driving across border, just dropping off these oil and gas supplies. And supposedly the Turkish president's son was heavily involved in these oil trades and energy trades. So Israel controls ISIS, that's my belief. And it controls ISIS through its proxies in Ankara, in Saudi Arabia, and in Qatar. So that's what's going on, my friend. The day that ISIS attacks Israel, I'll be like, you know what, bro? I was wrong all along. I mean, ISIS had a long time. No, they didn't attack Israel. Guess what? They somehow managed to emerge in Libya. Now, supposedly, like, Libya is their new stronghold. They are in Sirte. That's the town of Sirte. That's the town of Muammar Gaddafi, the slain, deposed dictator of Libya. He would not tolerate this kind of garbage. He was the bulwark between the civilized world and these savages. he would hang them upside down and fucking beat some sense into them. But guess what? First thing we do is we get rid of the bulwark and then we can let the crazies loose.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and I think there's a growing consensus
about Hillary's emails.
There is a growing consensus about what you're saying about this. Getting rid of Saddam Hussein, getting rid of Muammar Gaddafi, kind of agitating some of our allies, and it's creating this sort of Middle East in flames. Whether or not ISIS is a proxy of this Israeli state,
I'm
not laughing because it is a viable theory. I would probably disagree with you that it is. I think because ISIS fundamentally is a threat to the state of Israel.
How?
So
what has it done against the state of Israel? What has it done?
It's like a cancer.
It's sitting right across the border
across the border.
Dude, it's sitting right. Listen. Don't talk over me right now. Like, I know you're kind of like emotional about this. I'm emotional about this. Look, man, I'll tell you something. All right, they're sitting right across from Golan Heights, man. When Assad's helicopter used to come to attack ISIS, guess who used to shoot down those helicopters? The Israelis. The Israelis were shooting down Assad's air assets. The Israelis were conducting bombing runs inside Syria, destroying Assad's air defense capabilities. So while Assad was getting it in the rear end from these ISIS terrorists, Israel came in and put some platinum titanium spikes on that dildo and then said, take it again. Made it hard for him. If anything, Israel's been aiding ISIS. And you know what? If there's one candidate out there on the Republican side who has a very sane idea of what our foreign policy ought to look like, it's Donald Trump. I mean, trust me, I just said that. He just came out and he's repeated the same assertion that the world would have been a much better place with Gaddafi and Saddam. As bad as these people were, it's not our responsibility to cleanse the world of all these dictators. Show me what part of the Constitution, what section, what page it shows that United States government and its people are responsible for spreading democracy around the world. And the reason I'm bringing up Donald Trump is because, I want to segue into our final segment. And even though it's like the top news today, but because of its gutter vibes, we want to discuss it quickly before we close the show. So a couple of days ago, last Tuesday, when Ted Cruz won the caucuses in Utah by a great margin, Kasich beat out Trump in Utah. So before Trump gets any kind of momentum from his big victory in Utah, magically some tweet emerges out there about Trump's wife not having some kind of morality, Western Mormon morality, some nude pictures of some photo shoot like 16 years ago from some pack that has nothing to do with Ted Cruz, and then Donald Trump alleges that, Ted Cruz, lying Ted did that. And then Ted is like, look, bro, I didn't do that. Oh, lying Ted. So basically the whole idea was to take the focus away from Ted Cruz's big victory in Utah and talk about this garbage. And now it just gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah, I found it interesting that Donald Trump keeps hammering at Heidi Cruz, and to be fair, the Cruz camp started. I mean, if these super PACs are
this super PAC has nothing to do with Ted Cruz's campaign. This person, Ted Cruz, doesn't know who this person is running the super PAC.
You don't think some of their campaign advisors are sort of
illegal.
Coordinating with them?
If anyone has any evidence, if Donald Trump really wanted to hurt Ted Cruz, he would use his evidence that these super PACs are linked to Ted Cruz's campaign, file a complaint with the Election Commission, FEC, and bring his campaign to the knees. But there's no evidence like that.
Well, putting aside who started this war, Donald Trump is kind of continually agitating it, and he's posting these pictures of Heidi Cruz. I mean, she's actually kind of a handsome woman for her age, to be fair, but he's posting these pictures of her like looking angry and ugly and all, and saying that she was a prostitute. He's gonna spill the beans on her.
He didn't say that. No, let's be clear. Trump didn't say that. Like, the funny thing
he
is,
implied he implied that she was a call girl.
He implied it based on these allegations on these third-class, third-rated websites that are carrying these rumors that Heidi Cruz used to be a prostitute, a daughter of Seventh-day Adventist missionaries, a Christian woman, not my kind, but a heavily religious, well-raised woman, very well educated. I do not agree with certain of her career choices, but guess what? She's a strong woman. And it's not about Heidi Cruz. I think Ted Cruz is a target of this whole smear campaign because Donald Trump wants to talk about stuff that's totally irrelevant and not let people talk about his big loss in Utah. Like, dude, like, what do you got, 19% or 20% vote in Utah?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And what Donald Trump is doing is he's playing on what the media feeds on. He knows how to manipulate the media. He's very gifted with it.
Yeah, and like coincidentally, the night that he loses big, he puts out this tweet like, watch out, Ted Cruz, I'm gonna spill the beans on your wife.
But it does show if Donald Trump is the nominee of the Republican Party, he does have a way of framing the debate and framing the agenda and framing the media's kind of go ahead.
Let's talk about the second part of the scandal. So this morning, these stupid third grade websites again start reporting that Ted Cruz had an affair with like 5 women, most of them who are very visible in the media, including a high-level staffer on Trump's own campaign. So pretty much he put this person out there to say that, hey, look, man, it cannot be me because guess what? One of my own girls is on that list to cover the tracks. And where do all these outlets get their evidence? There's no evidence but Roger Stone, the unofficial senior advisor for the Donald Trump campaign. He somehow floats these stories out there through National Enquirer, whose senior editor is chums with Donald Trump, who has totally taken on Make America Great Again dick deep up his ass. So it's absolutely garbage. Nobody's discussing the issues. Nobody is discussing the relevant topics. Nobody's discussing the upcoming primaries. Nobody's discussing how to beat Hillary Clinton. The whole idea is pretty much, I'll tell you something, man. Back in India, they say something that goes something like this. If you are going to stomp your feet in feces, don't be surprised if you have shit stains on your dress. So, pretty much they are baiting Ted Cruz into stomping in feces. So, Donald Trump plays the feces game pretty good. He's that like retard kid in the playground who always eats turds.
and Rubio didn't play it well. When he started talking about the penis size with the hands and everything, his following just kind of collapsed. Like he had lower poll numbers, but what poll numbers he had just collapsed. So Donald Trump just is good at it, and these other guys, they're just not as good at it.
Well, I'll just tell you something. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is not the kind of campaign that American people are deserving of. It's a very important election year. We have to fix the damage that Obama has been doing for the past 7 some years. We have to reverse that. We have to go back to 2008 once again, get in that fucking Back to the Future kind of vehicle, take the country back to 1999, whatever. Somewhere before there was a fucking Barack Hussein Obama. Man, it's absolutely crazy times. But what are your plans tonight? Are you going out tonight with your wife, or like you say you're going out next weekend? Are we gonna be recording a show next Monday instead of next Friday?
Yeah, we'll figure out some time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a buddy coming to visit, and
Okay.
maybe he can be a guest star. He's got some he's got some interesting views on the world, so maybe we
Mm-hmm.
can get him in a segment.
All right.
Anyway, but I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter. I hope you share our show you have a homework assignment, everybody. You need to share our show with uh 3 to 5 people this week. That's
And
that's your weekly homework assignment.
and since I'm a godless bastard and I don't believe in the bunny,
The bunny believes in you, man, even if you don't believe in the bunny.
I'm gonna go and party tonight. So let's wrap up the show. Thanks for listening in. I absolutely love you guys. I
Vaya
love you,
con Dios.
and I love your girlfriends. Just the pretty ones, though. Anyway,
So wait. So one last question to close the show.
what?
So whose wife is more attractive, Trump's wife or Cruz's wife?
Melania's wife, man. Hey, one more joke before I leave. All right, I'm sure our listeners have time for this. So you know what? When Donald Trump said that, "Watch out, Ted, line Ted, I'm gonna spill the beans on your wife." You know what Ted Cruz said?
What did he say?
Watch out, Donald Trump. I let the world know that your wife's been making me spill for the last 30 years. Oh my god, you're such a silly Catholic boy, bro. You cannot even take a masturbation joke. Anyway, guys, here's Steve Aoki and Laid Back Luke featuring Lil Jones. Turbulence. Enjoy your weekend, and once again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned in for next Friday or next Monday. We will have a fresh new episode for you. Have a good night and have a happy Easter and enjoy your party. Have a good night.